actually awesome. Actually.
All right. So welcome to another practice meditation session for surrender and inquiry. And as we begin, I want to ask whether anybody has tried it in daily life so far again, and if so, if they want to share any experiences or obstacles or anything like that. Anyone? Anyone want to share any experiences from daily life?
I can go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So so I've been trying doing it in bits and pieces. So for example, yesterday when I was taking a walk at work, I suggested to my coworker to do it for 5 minutes together as we were walking. Today while driving, I was alternating a little between self-inquiry and surrender.
Great.
So I did that. I'm not yet able to sort of do it in a continuous mode. Nowhere close to it.
Continuity is it's a long process to get to that.
So it's in bits and pieces.
Great.
And I think it just gives me the same feeling as I would after at this point. The same feeling it would after a sit down meditation.
Yeah.
So that's where I am right now.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're trying it. That's great. Excellent.
In the same line, I would also say that now I'm more conscious of this dialogue which is happening in my mind. Even when I keep driving and I'm agitated with the light change, and I say, the thought comes, who is agitated? Great. Where am I trying to reach? What is the reason I am? So that dialogue is actively happening.
Great. Yeah, I think it's a really good point that when you are doing the practice, you become much more intimately acquainted with the workings of your mind, because a lot of the inner dialogue and all that we just sort of would not pay attention to. And now suddenly you are paying attention to it. The way that you talk to yourself, all your your psychology becomes clearer to you in this process, even though that's not exactly the direct point, but still it does. And that's, so that's great. So the more you pay attention, the more clearly you're going to see these patterns play out, exactly your agitation and what you're agitated, what agitates you, what irritates you, right? For example, or what you're drawn into in terms of your desires, basically, right? Yeah. Where your emotions are triggered and by whom and by what and what situation. And then, again, as those things reveal themselves, you can start to anticipate them in advance and kind of prepare yourself to do the inquiry even in those situations. So that's great. Fantastic.
Yeah, I have similar experience, like that awareness is increasing definitely, like how Krishna Kumarji mentioned and Raji also mentioned, when we are doing our day-to-day business, like in a job or like in any other work, household work, or like in anything, interacting with other people, that really brings the awareness. Who am I? Like, why I am doing this? Why I need to do this? Is it really I don't want to use the word, is it really worth? Okay, anything is what we are doing is worth it. Okay, but that the delay is there, rather than reacting, respond, have an internal dialogue and see, why I'm talking, who I'm talking, why I'm talking. I mean, it gives a lot of calmness and lot of certain things, because of this internal dialogue, what we thought we might have done, we are not doing. For example, like Krishna Kumarji mentioned, at the light, she might get irritated at some other person. But now, because of the internal dialogue, we are not going to we are actually smiling, and I'm sure, oh, you know what? Okay, 1 minute, 30 seconds, it might delay, but I'm not changing. You are not changing. The other person is not changing. Everything is like yesterday you mentioned, things do happen when it is needed. Okay, so there is no need to rush for, again, that come back to who am I? Same thing, it may look a very raw example, but if you extrapolate further, it is same thing, right? Who am I? Why I am, okay? There is nothing need to be rushed, it is all my perceptions, all my perceptions is in all. I don't want to say illusion, in the day-to-day life, even though it is for a seeker, it looks like an illusion, but for the external people and external world, it is a reality, seems to be a reality, and we need to still carry things in that illusionary reality. Okay, so that's what I might not be there yet, but this is what the process in my mind. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's really good. So, I mean, I want to note a couple of things about what you said. So, you said who am I? And then sort of why am I doing what I'm doing? So these are related questions, and it totally makes sense that really one stimulates the other, right? And so I want to say, yes, this such a sort of introspective process about your own motivations and all that is stimulated by the inquiry or surrender processes, because you're starting to watch what you're doing, and therefore you watch your motives, and all those things then come to mind. That said, I do want to emphasize, right, if we can, remember the who am I process is seeking that sense of I, hunting that sense of I. So when these different thoughts come up, like, oh yeah, why am I going to work? What is the point of all that, right? So let those thoughts come, and that's not a problem. It's a good thing. But those thoughts you should be immediately asking, who's having these thoughts? Who's having these thoughts? When we say that question, who's having these thoughts, what we mean by that is your awareness of those thoughts. Where is that awareness coming from? Where in your experience is you? Yeah. Where is you? Yeah. Basically, right? Where are you located? Literally, right? We seem to be here, but when we look around, all we see are things we observe. Where is the observer? We somehow know we're the observer, but where, or how do we know? It's all the same question, right? So I just want to note, right, that this inquiry process can stimulate psychological inquiry about, what are our values and why are we doing what we're doing? Which is, again, it's a good thing, not a problem. Those are just other thoughts, but nevertheless, let those thoughts occur. But then as they occur to each thought, you have to try to notice what you're really hunting for, which is your inner sense of existence. Where is it? What does it consist of, right? You're experiencing it. I'm observing these thoughts. I'm here somewhere observing these thoughts. Look for it. Look for you. Look for you. So I will just note that. And also I want to note, you said, for seekers, the world might be illusory, but you have to keep on doing stuff for other people or something like that. So there again, I would somewhat challenge that, because that's a thought, right? So the issue of what you have to do for other people. I'm not saying you should not do things for other people. I'm not saying you should, right? That the position is not yes or not no. It is, who is saying this? Who thinks they have duties exactly? It's not that you do have duties or you don't have duties. The question of duty itself, the question of what to do about duty, those are both thoughts. They occur to you. Who are you? You see? That's the way you deal with that. So because what am I going to, if we think that, I have to keep doing stuff for other people, blah, 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 the seeker's position is a spiritual position, but there's a relative world and we have to act in the relative world, then we are in the position of, essentially something like karma yoga again, which is we accept the provisional reality of the world. Whereas here, we're more directly challenging it. We're not exactly saying, we are kind of saying the world is unreal, but the point is not the thought, the world is unreal. The point is, who? Again, who? Yeah. Or surrender, obviously. Same thing. The surrender is the same question, just spun a little bit, basically, to ignore.
Yeah, thank you for highlighting like that who part. Like, even though we should not lost into that the questions, but we have to remember to ask who is about that who part also. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're redirecting, like every object is lit up by you, right? And so you're noticing, right? It's exactly like vision in a way, right? You're looking around and you're seeing things, but we don't think about the fact normally that the reason we're able to see things is because of light. We don't notice the fact that light is illuminating these objects. Light is just silent, invisible, but yet without it, we couldn't see anything. So here we are effectively trying to notice the light itself, right? Or another way of looking at it is, it's as if we're in a room or in a space anywhere, and we're looking around, and obviously let's say indoors, and we are seeing things, and we know therefore there is light, and we're looking for, well, where's light coming from? Is it from a lamp? You know, I mean, where's the lamp? You know, so all the objects you're seeing are all lit up by some light source. So you're hunting for the light source, right? So you might be like, oh, is this sofa the light source? Well, obviously not. It's lit up by the light source, right? And then you're basically trying to trace back, well, where is the light source? It's coming from this angle, you know, no, it must be over this way. I mean, you know, normally it would be very easy to find, obviously, but in this case, because of what we're looking for is so subtle, it's not so easy to find. But even though we know constantly it must be there, because otherwise you couldn't see. So the seeing is showing us the light is happening all the time, right?
Yeah.
Without any stop, any pause. But where is it? Where is it?
Yeah, the light source is I, and we are hunting for that I. Yeah, the light source is which is lighting up all these thoughts, whatever like come into our perceptions, that is being lit up by that I, and we are searching for that I. Like you said, objectively it's very easy to find the light source like a bulb or a sun or something, but the hunting for I is because we don't know. I mean, to be honest, at this point, I don't know where is that I. So it is never, I don't know, like we might find someday, but or not. But at this point, we need to continue the search.
Yes.
So like actually, I try. It's not I don't do just question alone. I want to feel where I am feeling it. Feeling that's what I'm going through, because question are not just theory or what you know already. You are answering. It's not answering. It's a feeling of where it's coming, how I feel when I am negating that, or when I am trying to answer. I don't want that. That's where I.
You're exactly right. So it is a kind of very special feeling. You know, that you're trying to follow. You're trying to pin down what exactly is this feeling, right? Where is this feeling coming from? What exactly? As you look for the feeling, the so-called feeling, other feelings and thoughts come up in that process, right? And then we have to keep they're like objects in that room, like the chair and a person, and this and that, the other thing, right? That are in the room that are continuously being illuminated. As you're looking for the light source, you keep seeing not the light source, but things that are lit up by the light source. That's what happens. But yes, you're 100% right. Feeling. Yes, that you're following
and
that.
It's a choked up feeling, or it's really no feeling at all, kind of analysis.
Everything is just observed.
Observe, observe.
Then you turn that into an inquiry.
Exactly. Because any choked up feeling, you then immediately say, who's aware of this choked up feeling?
Yeah.
It makes sense?
Yeah.
So let's try some right now.
And one more thing quickly, I want to add, this also brought another point in my mind that, like you said, we can see the things only because of the lit up of the light, correct, on the objects. But most of the time, we always forget about the light. Okay, we always think that object is there, but not because of the light. See, like if you are in the dark room, you don't see anything, correct? Even though the objects are present, we don't see any of them. And but in fact, like if you see around, we are seeing everything, but we forget we are able to see because of the light.
Yes.
And even our search also, even on inquiry also, I think unless we consciously, like you mentioned, because with the practice, unless we constantly inquiring, most of the time, like up to this point, I am not even be aware of that light. That's I.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we're trying to notice the fact, first of all, that there is light. Because that goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
Exactly. Again, like I've used that mirror analogy before. We're noticing the fact that, the mirror has a reflective surface. We don't think about that fact usually. It's exactly the same thing.
All these these are all again structure of thoughts, but if they are used to strengthen the will, it's okay.
Yes, exactly. So this structure is motivating and guiding.
Structure, but it's still a structure.
It's still a structure. It is still a structure. Yes, it is. These are all thoughts.
I had one comment question.
Of course.
We should be always perpetually intrigued with and wondering, who am I? Is there any relevance, or is it possible to apply some of the scriptural theory that we have learned about the viewer versus the scenery and the Panchakosha Vichara, as well as the Avastatraya Vichara, etc. Can we apply some of these the tools that we learn, or should we just organically analyze it and suspend our reasoning.
Scripture is giving you a kind of big picture, which can motivate the search, but fundamentally, what you're trying to do is see it for yourself. So you have this experience of I, right? That's the point.
No, I understand. You're saying we should be constantly intrigued with the experience of I.
Yeah, where's that experience coming from? You're looking for it quite directly, right? So,
but in the analysis, can we use some of the tools that we learned from Scripture?
Yeah. Raj is saying there's no analysis, in a way that's quite true because
no,
the point is,
analysis, answering of the questions that will. There's an internal dialogue, right? Where is it coming from?
The point is, you're trying to look for the feeling directly, right? So when you think about the theory of it, what you're doing is, if theory thoughts come up, they come up, right? And then you just look for what is illuminating those thoughts. But the point is, theory can't help you feel.
No, but while we're doing this entire exercise, we are still in the domain of the mind. So while we're in the domain of the mind, we can apply logic. So the question is, can we use the devices that we have learned from Scripture in that logic?
So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what your question is. How would you? Can you give me an example? How would you apply the Scripture when you are looking for yourself?
No, for instance, first you observe physical sensation, then you answer who is feeling the physical sensation, and then you put it in the template of the Panchakosha, and then you say, okay, physical sensation is because I'm breathing. Breathing is a little deeper in me. The reason I'm feeling a physical sensation is I slept well and I'm breathing right. Okay, then because of that, I'm somewhat mentally relaxed. I'm perceiving the relaxation.
So,
actually, she's talking about the Panchakosha.
Right. So he wants to go. You want to go in sequence. I mean, there's nothing wrong in going in sequence, but the point is, regardless, in the end, you're going to have to do the exact same direct experience search. So if you want to rigidly think about it in a series of layers, you can. But but in the end, you're going to be led to exactly the same point as if you just started with "Where am I?" Does that make sense?
Or in contrast, we could be intrigued with this question and just use our natural tools that come to mind in pursuing just be intrigued with it all the time. Oh, but okay, now where am I? Who am
There
I?
are just questions.
What you want to do is recognize that you have an experience of I, you're experiencing your knowledge of your own awareness, right? Do you understand? Are you getting that point?
Yes, that is very natural. That is universal. Everybody has that.
That universal experience, we're trying to directly turn our attention towards it because we just assume what that is. So the scriptures have given you a big picture, which is fine because otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense probably. But ultimately the point is you're going to have to directly try to examine, just like, for example, if you were feeling some pain right now, and I said, I want you to tell me, what does that pain feel like? What does it feel like, right? Is it throbbing? Is it cutting? Is it burning? Is it cold? Is it dull? Is it sharp, right? You have to attend to it, right? So if you read about, the pain, the biological theory of the pain, or anything else like that, right? That's not going to tell you how to literally turn your attention to that pain and really examine it for yourself, right? It can give you, there can be theories like headaches, you might read in a book, like headaches are like this, and pains from cuts are like that, you might read about that, but that may give you some basic framework, but the point is you have to actually turn your attention to the pain as you experience it in the moment and examine it. So similarly, you have to turn your attention to I as you experience it right now. I know I'm here. That universal experience, you have to turn towards it. As you try to turn towards it, now you're going to find it's difficult because you're trying to turn towards it, but you actually land up on an object, which is not it, because the thing that you land up on is something of which you are aware. So that of which you are aware means it's not the universal experience that you're looking for. And you're like, okay, well, this is not it. So again, you have to light up. Again, you have to notice that you're lighting that experience up and pursuing it. So,
but in all this analysis,
there's no
very, very key is what is observed versus the observer. What is experienced, we reject as not being us.
Yeah, exactly.
We're applying the logic of Drishya Viveka. We're applying the logic of Drishya Viveka there.
Yes. Yeah. What is observed is not you. I mean, it's sure. Yes, exactly.
It's just like when you go to the doctor and say, it is just like going to the doctor and say, I have a stomach ache, and you say exactly pinpoint where it is coming from. It is from gallbladder, or is saying, and then you tell me like the bottom or here, and it could be from the liver, or I don't know.
Where are you feeling it? Where are you feeling it? That's the question, right? Because where you're feeling it may not be exactly the same as where it's biologically located.
We lost Geeta.
Yeah, I think looks like the connection is dropped, but the session is on. I think once they're back.
Feeling is a thought, but that thought's okay.
Yeah, that's right. It's feeling your existence, exactly, and trying to trace what that feeling actually is, because what are we feeling when we're feeling it is the question. When you say I'm feeling my existence, that seems so obvious, and it is obvious in a way. But when we actually try to nail down, what is existence? What does it feel like? What does it feel like? We have all this other stuff that actually isn't it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Overlays, basically. So when you strip out all the overlays, what you end up with is what we're gonna end up with is we're like pulling a string on a loose thread on a shirt or something like that. When you pull all the threads out, there's nothing left. So that's the structure of the ego. So let's do some practice. Let's do some practice. So let's do 5 minutes right now.
Maybe for Murli's benefit, you mind outlining the.
Oh yes. Okay. So for those who haven't heard the instruction yet, for self-inquiry, as you probably have garnered from the discussion we just had, we have a basic sense of existence. And we're trying to turn our attention towards it. Turn your attention towards it, and anything which comes up as you try to turn your attention towards it, as you try to feel that feeling of existence, as you try to locate where you are, right? That when you say I, there's a bell that's rung somewhere. Where is it ringing? As you try to kind of find it, find you, find yourself, find the observer, find the viewer, your mind kind of illuminates something. And then whatever it illuminates, you ask yourself, am I aware of this? If you're aware of this, it can't be you, because if it were you, you wouldn't be able to be aware of it as a separate object. So, and then you ask yourself, well, who's aware of this? Or you can, who's aware of this is equal to, again, just going back to this base question of, okay, again, feel yourself. Where is that? What is that? So this little sequence, we're just repeating it over and over and over and over again. That's it. So, okay, so let's try that. Any thought that arises, and just feed into this process. Who's aware of this thought? Who's aware of this thought? Who's aware of this thought? Okay, here goes 5 minutes. Okay.
Just a second, Akhilesh.
Yeah, I would always suggest open eyes if possible, but if you can't do open eyes, then closed eyes is fine. So yeah.
Just a second.
There's a question.
Oh, what's the question?
Yeah. So when I try again and again, what often happens is that my mind lands on the same object again and again. So
okay, yeah, your mind lands like which object is that, for example?
Some sort of feeling in my head.
Yeah. Okay. This is a good question. So your mind lands over and over on the same object. So what you have to realize is, it's like, for example, I like using this example for this. So you usually keep let's say your keys, okay, in a certain location, okay, and then one day you look in that location and they're not there, right? And then you're like, oh, it's not there. That's strange. And then you're like shuffling around, you're confused, and you feel like, oh, I feel like it's there. So again, you check that location, it's not there. And then a third time you leave, and you're like, but I really feel like it's there. So you open it up again, it's still not there, right? But after 20 times, you have to realize that the feeling that you have it's there is just wrong. So it's like it's because of habit, right? You feel like that feels like it's here. You really have to try to recognize that feeling of, yeah, it feels like it's here, is an object of awareness that's not actually in the head. That the head, you're aware of the sensation in the head. You're aware of this feeling in the head. That feeling that it's there is itself an object. And you have to try your best, and it may not be easy, but try your best to recognize that and just say, okay, well, the one who's aware of the feeling that I'm in the head, what is that? Try. That's all you can do.
Yeah, that's usually the point where I come to a dead end, and that's what
Just keep
happens.
trying. Just keep trying. That's okay. That's right. Just keep trying. I'll put it another way. And then I want to do some practice. Okay, and then I'll answer more questions. But I'll just say this last thing. If you're
Okay.
one of the many things you can do when you're at a so-called dead end in self-inquiry is, see, surrender and inquiry are, like I've said before many times, complementary practices. They are like flip sides of a coin. So when you're looking for I, okay, and you seem to have come to a so-called dead end, what you can do is you can recognize that the direction in which I is, okay, is away from objects. So when you surrender, what you're doing is you're ignoring the object, meaning you're taking your attention away from whatever it would normally be on. So if you want to find where I is, it's in the direction away from whatever it is your attention is on. So if you're at a so-called dead end in inquiry, what you can try to do is you can try to ignore whatever your mind is currently on. And when you ignore it and you revoke your attention from it, it's moving whatever you revoke your attention away from your current experience, your attention will automatically move in the direction of I.
Okay.
So give that a try and we'll talk afterwards. So 5 minutes, let's start now. All right. Anyone want to share an experience?
Oh yeah, the object kind of shifted. That's all that happened.
What shifted?
The object that I felt the I to be kind of shifted. That's it.
Can you tell me from what it shifted to? Like, what did it start as and what did it go to?
Before it was this feeling on the top of my head, and now it just turned into a feeling in the forehead, like that.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
that's fine. That's okay. Good. I mean, something's changed.
Yeah.
I felt focused energy on the whole energy has shifted to that. I mean, lots of energy got pumped into my feeling, kind of.
Into that feeling.
Feeling.
Into that
yes.
feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So it's kind of like you're feeling more that feeling more intense.
Like intense viewing kind of a thing. But it's not my word or anything of the sort. It is my feeling of all the energy putting to us intensely, kind of a thing.
Good.
My feet, my shoulder, my breathing, and everything really kind of getting consolidated. Good. Feeling.
Good. And so when you notice that feeling, the next thing to do is, if you didn't do it already, is again notice this feeling of intense energy is itself a feeling.
Yes, correct.
And so who's aware of that, right? The awareness of that, right? You try to notice that. That's where the light is shining. That makes sense? Illuminating that. So that's how you go and kind of like you dart from one direction to another like that. Whatever's aware of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone else?
Is this channelizing the force, whatever willpower you think, or no? It's not.
So, well, whatever energy is activated, my point is simply this, that, because she was mentioning energy, is whatever, see, energy is another feeling. The point is, whatever feeling you have, to notice this feeling is also, this can't be me.
Yeah.
So your awareness, your witnessing of that energy feeling, you have to try to trace that. Where is that witness with respect? Because you're viewing this energy. Like, oh, I feel this intense energy coming. So where am I? Because the energy is not me.
Yeah.
Because if it was me, I wouldn't be able to experience the energy, correct. Right? So again, you have to try to ring that bell when you say I again. Where is that? That's it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Every time something's happening, right? Whether the object is shifting or energy is being experienced, to again notice this too is an experience, which means there's an experiencer. That's me. Where am I? What am I? Basically, you're directly experiencing that fact. Where is that fact coming from? Anyone else?
I have a different experience, like, for example, like, because of my illusion that my body and I are the same, I can see, like, and judge what you and others are doing. Like, okay, you are doing talking, like, and Raj is watching, and Geeta is listening, and other things, correct? But now, when my body is doing something, I have a question, like, when I become observing, like, okay, whatever I am doing through my body, who is asking the body to do whatever it is doing? Like, I'm talking to you now. Who is asking this body to talk to you or have a discussion or a dialogue? And if I'm doing a right thing or wrong thing or whatever it is, who is making the decision and who is directed to do that right or wrong thing? And who is making the decision of to do a particular thing when you have an option to do one or two more things?
Right.
So my body is doing, but whether it's me doing or who is ordering the body to do those things, like,
that's your question.
Yeah.
So right. So this, like all questions about why are things the way they are? That's essentially this category of question. Because why is my body choosing to do this particular thing, not that thing? Why did this particular thought come into mind, not that thought? Why am I feeling this way, not that way? And the same question to everybody else. Why are they behaving the way they're behaving? Why is the world the way it is? All of these questions fall into the same category. And so there are basically two types of response you have to that. One type of response is you accept the reality of all these things, and then you try to account for them in terms of something else, like in terms of God's will or in terms of karma or something like that. But the reality is all those explanations tend to be not that satisfying. The real satisfaction to that question of why is my body choosing to do this, not that, is to find who is asking the question or to whom the question is occurring. Because when you penetrate that illusion, the question you're asking about who's directing the body will turn out to be, in some profound sense, meaningless, basically. So that question, which appears to be meaningful, like, yeah, why? Who is doing this? Who is ordering all of this? Seems to be meaningful because of the illusion of separate identity.
Yeah.
When that illusion is penetrated, this question will not be pressing in the same way. It will lose, it'll be defanged. That's the only real satisfaction we mortals are going to get on this question. And it is satisfaction, but it's not a verbal answer. You have to see really what's the situation. The situation appears to be one thing, but it's actually another. So when we ask, why is it this way? We're asking based on our incorrect understanding of what the situation is. And when we start with an incorrect understanding, all we're going to get is a series of unsatisfying explanations.
Yeah. Yeah. Even not only like a decision making, even to initiate it, to do certain things, like, so any one of us, like, morning we got up and we started doing some things, correct? Who is asking and who, like, I'm observing, like, yeah, I'm observing everything happening. Okay. It's like a play happening in front of me. But in part of the play is also my body. Okay. Like, for example, we are talking here, correct? So like, yeah, who is asking me to participate in this? Like, who is making me to ask these questions? Okay. Okay. If I know that I am not, I know that this is not real. Okay. But at the same time, I don't want to use the word compelled, but willingly or unwillingly, or because of something, I am participating in this action. Okay. That is an illusion, I also know. But again, what is propelling to make that illusion to even perceive like that?
Yeah, that's the same question. So what's propelling to make the illusion that makes things like that is itself, the illusion is also an illusion.
Yeah.
So the idea that there is an illusion is itself a delusion.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to see that for yourself, not just take my word for it, right? You'll have to penetrate into who, again, the observer, because the observer is creating this whole scheme, basically, which is a kind of nested scheme of delusion inside delusion, inside delusion, inside. It's like one of those boxes. You open a box, inside there's another box, inside there's another box. It's like that.
Because the mind has already covered it up with so many layers.
Yes.
That is exactly where I had to. The dialogue was with my mind saying that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be scared.
Good. Yes.
Because it's not allowing me to go beyond, because either it is making me go to sleep, or fear. Yeah. So that was the barrier I am with.
But that's good, because that means I can sense that means you're really trying to practice. These are the obstacles you encounter.
Yes.
And you have to feed them into the practice. Who's feeling sleepy now?
Yes.
Who's feeling afraid, right? Because the fear affects you because you think it's yours. That's the issue, right? So you notice that I'm aware of the fear. And get that curiosity, inquiry really appeals to the curious mind, right? Where am I? Because again, you're posed with, it's a riddle, basically. Here you are experiencing something all the time, continuously, and yet when you look for it, it can't be found.
Yes.
Right? So what is that? This is the riddle we're posed with in inquiry. So that to be really stimulated by that riddle, like how can that be the case that I'm touching something literally every moment of every day, and yet when I actually try to examine what it is I'm touching, I can't find it. It's so frustrating. It's there, even in my not being able to find it. I'm touching it. So it's very, very mysterious, actually, in a way. Though it's also so intimate. It's the basis, all our normal experience, and yet when I look for it, I can't seem to pin it down. So this is the riddle. So let's switch, by the way, and I will also say, right. So again, the reason we have two practices in part is because some people are really drawn more to one than the other, right? And some people find one more intuitive than the other, right? So some people, for example, will never find inquiry, like they won't it won't appeal to them, or they won't get it really. And that's okay, because for some people, surrender is just a much easier path. They just get it, you know? And so that's the case. Again, each path is complete in itself. You don't need to mix them. You can mix them. I encourage you to mix them if it appeals to you. It can be nice, but not necessary. If you want to be a pure surrender path, you can be pure surrender path that will lead you equally well to the truth. So so let's do some surrender now. So again, this instruction for surrender is ignore everything. Meaning what? Meaning continuously take your attention away from your current experience. Reclaim it. Reclaim your attention. Your attention is going out into anything, any particular thing, which, and everything is a thought, basically. That's the way you look at it. Every perception is also a thought. Every feeling is a thought. And then obviously thoughts are thoughts. So, so everything is a thought. Your attention is wandering out into that thought, basically, and you're trying to bring it back in the same way that, for example, if you were, staring at the sky, even if it's beautiful, right? You're staring at the sky, you're lost in that. And then suddenly you snap back to awareness. We're trying to snap ourselves back to awareness continuously, assuming that every moment our attention is being drawn. There's a force, like a magnetic force, that's trying to draw our attention into something specific. And we're trying to bring it back to the non-specific. So that's one part of surrender. And the other part of surrender is that we are relaxing our effort with everything except the practice itself. So we are putting extreme alertness to keep withdrawing our attention back. But then within this sort of fortress of our alertness, within the sort of muscle that feels like I am trying to do something, that muscle, we relax. That muscle we just don't use, basically. So that's the second attempt of surrender. Don't get drawn into anything and relax. So you are putting the effort into not getting drawn into anything, but otherwise you're relaxing. So I like to compare it to, like, really, a stone, a boulder being dropped into the ocean, right? You're just falling, endless falling. The ocean doesn't have a floor. You just fall, right? The only effort is to not stop the fall, to not try to hold yourself up, to not try to cling to something, just fall. Or like, if you have a dog or something like that, you're taking a dog for a walk, and eventually the dog is like, I don't want to do this anymore. So what does the dog do? The dog just like plops on the ground. And it's like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. You pick me up if you want. I'm not walking one more step, right? So we can have that same attitude. That's what surrender is. Like, no, I'm not nothing. You do it, basically. You pick my body up, meaning God, you pick my body up and make it do it. I'm not doing anything. So that is surrender, basically. Yeah. So yeah. So let's try that for 5 minutes. Easy, obviously easier when we're sitting down like this, but the as always, the test is daily life, but let's try it right now. Here goes, 5 minutes. All right. Experience?
These practices give you a very good perspective of what you are after. Complete analysis. You are caught in those things, and then get a like a magnet. You come back. This says that is really what is more.
You're seeing what's happening.
Yeah,
in your mind, right? Exactly.
what is you like? Where are you directed?
Exactly.
Exactly. However much you bring it back, also you know that
your mind is being drawn, right?
Drawn that, and then you know that it is really like you are for some reason you are going there.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is a basic thing you knew that you have to get out.
Yes, exactly. So you see
good analysis of yourself.
Beautiful. Exactly. That's exactly right. When you do this, you're going to see what are your motivations, basically.
Yes.
What is in your mind? Where has your attention been going? Where has your effort been going? All those things will come back. That's all the things you care about.
Yes,
come back,
correct.
basically. So yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. On the same lines, I have a, and similar to what Geeta ji mentioned. Every time I'm trying to withdraw from anything, okay, any situation, okay, two things are happening. One is, if it is something I can let go easily from my side, I can easily withdraw the attention. Okay, I can come back. Okay, but again, I know you will say it is an attachment. For example, some injustice happening to a helpless person. Okay, and in that situation, even though I want to withdraw, but it's going back again because I feel, again, it can be an illusion. Okay, you can say it can be because I feel that if I can't help that person at that situation where I can help, I feel guilty. So my surrender is going back again. Like, even though I know I need to, like, I don't want to caught up in that. Again, it's coming back to the same thing. Again, awareness is kicking. Oh, no. Okay, you know what? You can do it, but don't go there again. Come back. So that is the challenge for me. If somebody takes something from me, I can, okay, you know what? That's fine. That thought is like, and I can quickly come back. But something which is very attached to me, like something like I mentioned the example, that is where the withdrawal is a little bit difficult.
Right. So thoughts of injustice really kind of bother you, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah. I was just reading that Ramana Maharshi, thought this was a big trap for seekers, because, what he said was, actually, I don't know exactly what he said, but I was reading about someone's account of talking about this with him. And he said, we're trying to save others, but we don't know who we are.
Exactly.
So that's an issue. Yeah. The best service you can do for them is to know yourself. So that's a way of looking at it. But yes, you're right. And remember, again, just to be clear, surrender does not mean that you will not help other people when you see an injustice. It doesn't mean that you will either. The point is, at that moment, decision point, right? You're like, okay, this is happening, right? At the decision point, you relax. And your body and your mind are fully capable of taking actions without you, if whatever controls them, so to say, in our current framework, right? That's not the ultimate truth necessarily, but so ordains. So that whatever is controlling them, whatever that may be, is actually always in control of them. You see, we think that, oh, I see an injustice, I have to order my mind and body to intervene. That's putting you in the driver's seat, which you're not actually occupying. You are not occupying it even now. That's the point. Yes,
Correct.
Murali is occupying it, but that's it. Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
it is an illusion that I can do something, but again,
your decision, that you're in charge of the decision. It's like you're an actor reading a script, right? Imagine the character in the movie is like, should I rush into the burning building to save this person, even though I might die in the process, right? And they're going through this big act of having this crisis of conscience.
Yeah.
It's determined in the script what they're going to do, right? Including that very thought process, the pantomime of thinking, of deciding, of agonizing. It's all in the script. And then the script writer decides, does he do it or doesn't he? So it's just like that.
Yeah. Even morning I thought the same way. 5:45, my body refused to get up. And then I said, okay, I am not letting it go. Let the thunder take over. And I just slept. And then after 5 minutes, I got an urge to get up. And
Exactly. Your nature, that's what Gita said, your nature will compel you. Don't worry. The gunas act. So don't worry. If it's in your system to get up, you will get up, whether you like it or not.
You have to deliver.
It will force you into getting up. We think we're in charge. We know we're not in charge when if you veer, you'll see if you veer to the lines of your nature, you'll be compelled to come back. So it's like a parent allowing the kid to think they're in charge. Exactly. But if the kid goes too far to one side, they'll know how not in charge they actually are. So that's what's going on.
Wonderful. This is unbelievable. We could sit like this and have such a profound
message
discussion. Very intimate.
Without the driver being the driver.
Right. Exactly.
I don't have the keys.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Drivers got the keys, precisely.
The keys. God is look into it. Who has got
the key?
Wow,
Exactly.
truth is embodied here.
It's all right in this car.
I think this video will be on the YouTube eternally, and whoever is watching, they really will not understand what's going on initially.
They're not going to understand it at all. All right. Any last questions?
It's wonderful. It was beautiful.
Wonderful. We are going to have a big
memorable.
This is a practical piece of the practice.
Sorry?
This is today, the way it ended up is it's really put in a practical way of practicing what we are doing actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's really shown how it all works. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. And again, I have I'll be this evening last
at my place
series on
today.
Kovai, and then tomorrow there's a workshop at the Yoga
3
Bharati
o'clock.
at 3 o'clock from 3
in
to 6,
Milpitas. Yeah.
which we're going to include. It'll include a little bit of again a kind of introduction to the spiritual search and some practice, and then going into Ribhu Gita, a couple of chapter or two. So that'll be interesting, I think. All right. Well, thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Akhilesh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Namaste.
See you today evening and tomorrow evening.
Unforgettable experience. So thoroughly. You will never forget Akhilesh and us.